Okay, so today and tomorrow what we will focus on is going to be word problems. So again, these are usually one of the things that we kind of struggle with. So try to make it easy to explain. We're going to have two different types of word problems. One will be a word problem that has some sort of starting point, and then a change, and then we have our two variables. This will be a lot like our slope and y-intercept. When we're doing these problems, I'll suggest us to make a XY table or t-chart and then plug in values for 0, 1, and 2 to find the change and then to find our starting point. The other one is the one that's usually a little tricky. I call it a units problem. Most of the time, it'll end up dealing with money, where we'll have two different totals. If you guys could just write totals. So what'll happen is I'll always have two different variables, and then I'll have two different totals presented in my equation or in my word problem. So kind of going through these, just hang in there with me, and then just make sure that we're understanding the two different types, especially the second type. So first problem says a store makes and sells hats. The total material per hat is $5.50, and the hat sells for $12.50. The store also spends $1,400 on advertising. How many hats does the store have to sell to break even? So if you guys could just go ahead and underline that break even. Break even problems we will always set up the same way. I'll have two different equations. One will be for money that I have to actually spend myself, and then one equation will have to do with money that I'm actually making. And so literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through in each of these dollar amounts. I'm going to figure out whether it's money that I'm making or money that I'm spending. So the $5.50, the materials for the hat is $5.50. That is money that I actually have to spend, and it is per hat. So I know that on this spend side, I need to do $5.50. I need to multiply it by however many hats I sell. The second one, $12.50. The hats sell for $12.50, and so that's money that I'm making. Again, it's $12.50 per hat, so I'm going to put an H with it. And then the last one that I have is the $1,400. It says I spend $1,400 on advertising, so I'm going to spend, so I'm going to add to it $1,400. And again, this is going to be, this isn't per hat that I'm advertising that, it's just $1,400 straight up. And so this is going to be equal to the cost that I spend, and this is going to be equal to the cost that I make. And so the nice thing about break-even problems is they're both equal to the same variable, and so it's really easy to do a substitution. So I know that this is the same thing as C, and so what I can do is I can grab this and I can plug it in for C. So I can go substitution 1250H is equal to 550H plus 1,400. I can subtract the 550 to the other side and get 7H is equal to 1,400, and then divide both sides by 7. Get H is equal to, I think it's 200. And then just make sure that we always label 200 hats. Okay? With this, the next one, I'm going to skip the next problem and go down to the one that's talking about Mr. P opening graders in Marysville. Again, I see the word break even, and so I know that I'm going to set it up. I can already write my two equations. I have one that is money that I'm spending, and one that is money that I'm making. So again, I go through my dollar amounts. He buys a freezer for $28.50. Again, that's money that I'm spending. It's just $28.50. It costs $1.45 to make a single scoop of ice cream. So again, it cost me, so I'm going to spend $1.45 for each ice cream. And then the last dollar amount says $2.95 is how much it sells for. So $2.95, and that's going to be the cost of what, or the total of what I'm making, the total of what I'm spending. Again, they're both equal to C, so I can make them equal to each other. So I can take the left-hand side here, put it in parentheses. This is equal to C, and so I can plug it in for C. And so I can go 295I is equal to 2850 plus 145I. And again, just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go ahead and finish solving that one. It's solving an equation, and so we should be able to do that by ourselves. The next problem says Mr. Metzger's first period algebra class begins the year with 39 students in it and decreases by 2 students per week. Mr. Metzger's fourth period class begins the year with 3 students and increases by 2 students per week. When will the classes be equal? And so again, this one's a little bit different. It's not a break-even problem. We're trying to figure out when our classes are going to be equal to each other. And so with this is where we kind of have to think about what 2 things we have to be able to write an equation with. So the 2 things that we actually have here is we have my first period class and we have my fourth period class. And so I'm going to write an equation that has to do with my first period, and I'm going to write an equation that has to do with my fourth period. And so in my first period class, this is going to be one that's kind of set up like a starting point and then a change. In my first period class, I start with 39 students, so 39 plus, and then the change is going to be 2. So I'm adding, I'm losing 2 students per week. So 2 times W is going to be equal to the number of students in my class. In my fourth period, my starting point is 3 students. So I start with 3, and then I add 2 students per week. And that'll be the total number of students in my class. Remember, this is my starting point, and this is my pattern or my change. And so when I do this, again, they're both equal to S, and so I can take this left-hand side, and I can plug it in for S of the other equation. So I get 3 plus 2W is equal to 39 minus 2W. What I can do is, again, I can add the 2W to the other side. Get 3 plus 4W is equal to 39. I can subtract the 3 to the other side. Sorry, I'm running out of room here. To get 4W is equal to 36, and then divide by 4. So W is equal to 9. And again, this is 9 weeks that go by. And if I wanted to figure out how many students were in each class, if that was something that I asked, I could just plug it back into one of the original equations. Do 3 plus 2 times 9 is equal to S. So that would give me 18 plus 3, which gives me 21 students. So again, in the same way, if I want to find one variable and figure out what the other one's going to be, I could always plug it back into the original. Same goes for this next problem. I'm going to find out who I should get cable from. I've got Time Warner, has a $20 installation fee and then charges $70 per month. And DirecTV has a $120 installation fee and then charges $40 per month. I want to figure out where that place, or after how long they're going to be equal to each other. So again, Time Warner is going to be one of my equations. DirecTV is going to be the other equation. And so Time Warner, $20 installation fee, then $70 per month. So the $20 installation fee is the upfront fee, and then the $70 per month is 70 times M is equal to the cost. DirecTV, $120 installation fee, and then $40 per month, and that'll equal the cost. Again, starting point and change. And so this is my left-hand side. They're both equal to C. And so I can grab this and I can plug it in and get 120 plus 40m is equal to 20 plus 70m. And so again, I can solve for my variable to figure out how many months go by that they're going to be equal to each other. If I wanted to figure out what cost that would be, I could plug it back into the original, but I'm not going to go ahead and finish solving it because we can do that by ourselves. Go ahead and flip over to the back. On the back, these are the ones that are a little bit tricky, and this is where we need to kind of be thinking. So it says you're selling tickets to a high school play. Students cost $4, adults cost $6. You sell 525 tickets and collect $2,876. We want to figure out how many of each type of ticket did you sell. And so what we're trying to find is how many of each type of ticket. So I have A is going to be my adult ticket, and then S is going to be my student ticket. And then right here, if you guys could just circle 525 tickets and collect $2,876. So what I see here is I have two different total amounts. And this is what's going to tell me that this is going to be a units problem. So I have two totals. So one of them is total tickets. So I'm going to have one equation that just has to deal with tickets. The other one is a total money. And so I'm going to have one that just has to do with money. The money equation is pretty easy. Each of the dollar amounts that I have here is going to go into my money equation, which should kind of make sense. So it's $4 for a student ticket, so $4 times however many student tickets I sell, plus $6 for each adult ticket I sell. And it'll equal the total, which is $2,876. Remember that since this is my dollar equation, each one of these numbers should be a dollar amount. The other equation shouldn't have any dollars in it because the other equation just has to do with tickets. I know my total is going to be 525, and it's just talking about tickets. And so to figure out the total number of tickets, I would just take the number of student tickets plus the number of adult tickets and add them together. What makes these equations kind of easy is that it's really easy to do elimination here because to get my S's to be opposites of each other, all I would have to do is multiply this one by a -4. And so when I do that, I get -4s minus 4a is equal to, I think it's -2,100. The other equation stays the same. 4s plus 6a is equal to 2,876. When I add my columns together, you should get 2a is equal to 776, and then divide both sides by 2. So the number of adult tickets that I have is 388 adult tickets. And then again, just like I would before, to find the other, the number of student tickets, I could grab the 388 and I could plug it in here, and I could go S plus 388 is equal to 525, and subtract the 388 over to the other side. So I get S is equal to 137 student tickets. Those are my two answers here. Same thing goes with the next problem. Go ahead and circle the totals that we have. So this one is talking about sell pies for $5, cakes for $8. We sell a total of $172 and 26 combined cakes and pies. So I know I'm going to have a dollar equation, and then the other total that I'm given is cakes and pies. So here's a cake. It's bad, I know. And then here is a pie. Again, I know it's bad. The money equation has all the dollar amounts in it, so $5 for pies, $8 for cakes, $172 worth. Again, if you get kind of stuck, always know that it's always going to be equal to one of the totals, This is my dollar equation, so it's going to be 5p plus 8c, all the dollar amounts. The other one's going to be equal to 26 because that's the total number of cakes and pies. And so I can do p plus c is giving me my total amount of cakes and pies. Okay. Again, you guys are more than capable of doing elimination and solving this, so I'm not going to finish the problem there. I've got two more here. I've got, this one's just slightly different from the last one that we did, but still fairly similar. I've got two total amounts. This time, these are my two total amounts. They're both dollar amounts. So what I want to do is, so I've got $52, and I've got $29. So my two equations, I'm going to have them one equal to 52 and one equal to 29. I'm trying to figure out how much a scarf costs and how much a mitten costs. So I can do S for scarves and M for mittens. And so the total of $52 was just 4 scarves plus 6 mittens. The second one was 3 scarves and 2 mittens. 3 scarves plus 2 mittens. And so again, pretty easy to do elimination. Multiply this one by a -3 to get them to be opposites of each other. So I would get my new equation, which would be -9s plus -6m is equal to 29 times -3, which gives me -87. I could then add my columns together. My m's would cancel out. I'll be left with -5s is equal to, let's see, that would be -35. So S would be equal to 7, so 7 scarves. And then if I plugged it back in here, I do 3 times 2, or sorry, 3 times 7 plus 2m is equal to 29. And get 21 plus 2m is equal to 29. 2m is equal to 8, so m is equal to 4. 4 mittens. And the very last one, Game of Thrones season is coming out on Blu-ray and DVD. A DVD set is $25, Blu-ray is $45. Best Buy sells a total of 26 items and a total of $1,030. So again, I know that one is going to be my dollar equation. That's one of my totals. And then this is how I draw a CD. That looks really ridiculous. I'm just going to put DVD, Blu-ray. So again, my money equation is going to have all my dollar amounts. $25 for the DVD plus $45 for the Blu-ray is equal to my dollar amount, which is $1,030. This is my dollar equation, so this one has all the dollar amounts in it. The other one is going to be my total items, so it's just going to be DVDs plus Blu-rays is equal to 26. And then from there, again, I could just solve my equation. By doing elimination would probably be the easiest way to do that one. Okay.